Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. In the last class we talked about the first of the 5 hegemons of the spring and autumn period, Qi Hengong, and how he was almost assassinated by Guanzhong and ended up recruiting him as the prime minister by Bao Shuya's recommendation instead. He gathered all of the royal princes, and spread his fame. Qi Hengong really set an example of a hegemon and started the trend of it. More royal princes wanted to claim this title. One of them was Song Xianggong. After Qi Hengong and Guanzhong passed away, the title of hegemon was out in the air for grabs. Who would be the next hegemon, the next most powerful royal prince of the Zhou dynasty? A lot of royal princes did want to, but many of them were afraid of failure. But guess who was bold enough to host another meeting of the royal princes and give out speeches like what Qi Hengong did a couple years ago? That's right, it is Song Xianggong, as I mentioned before. However, things weren't as easy as that. At least, you wouldn't think. Truth is, the status of Song Xianggong was complicated, to say the least. What do you think happened to cause me to say that? A. Nobody came to the meeting of the royal princes, but the king of Zhou still named Song Xianggong the next hegemon because he didn't know what to do. B. A few royal princes came to the meeting, but the amount and his speech were not enough to impress the king of Zhou and grant him the title of hegemon. Enraged at this, Song Xianggong demanded and threatened the king of Zhou to give him the position, to which he complied willingly but out of fear. C. A few royal princes came to the meeting, but the king of Zhou wasn't too impressed and did not grant him the title of a hegemon. Song Xianggong became very angry and threatened the king of Zhou to give him the position. It's basically the same as option B, but this time what's different in option C is that the king of Zhou did not actually comply, so Song Xianggong assassinated and killed him, and made himself the next hegemon by force, overtaking the dynasty. D. A lot of royal princes came to the meeting that he organized, and Song Xianggong gave speeches to let everyone know that he would be a very good hegemon. However, another royal prince had other ideas that opposed his, and things went wrong from there, with that other royal prince trying to become the hegemon as well. E. A lot of royal princes showed up, and Song Xianggong gave his speech, and another royal prince, just like the one in D, rebelled against this idea. However, all the other royal princes felt that Song Xianggong was actually pretty competent and kicked out the rebelling royal prince and exiled him. I'll give you some time to think and answer this question. Alright, time's up. The correct answer was D. When he organized the meeting, a lot of royal princes did actually arrive, surprisingly. This was also partially because he partnered up with the Duke of Chu to host the event, which brought more attention since originally Qi Hengong started the events without the help or any other assistance from other royal princes. Anyways, after Song Xianggong finished his speech, the Duke of Chu, who teamed up with him, decided that he wanted to be the next hegemon instead of him. To see how this event plays out, we actually have to go back in time a little bit, because when the royal princes were arriving at the meeting, they brought guards and soldiers to protect them, just in case if anything goes wrong. Having a few bodyguards also doesn't hurt either. However, Song Xianggong was very naive. He didn't do any of that, since he believed they were only there to talk, and he was right. But he was wrong about the part where he thought nothing was going to go wrong. Because of the fact that Song Xianggong didn't have any guards with him or any army with him, the Duke of Chu easily captured him and held him hostage until he was made the next hegemon. which the royal princes did without too much hesitation, since they didn't really care. So Song Xianggong was not happy about this. I mean, why would he be? There's no reason why he wouldn't be. So he declared war on Chu, because that was basically the most obvious thing to do, and they fought. They planned out an organized battle in a river. Song Xianggong and his army positioned on the bank of a river, and the army of Chu had to cross it to get over to them. One of his generals suggested to attack them while they were inside the water, moving very sluggishly, very slowly, and to gain the element of surprise and quickly decimate them with arrows. And if needed, they would send in melee troops. However, Song Xianggong told the general that it was not morally right to do so, and they should have a fair fight on the ground once they reached the bank of the river. He told them to treat honor more importantly, and almost as the most important thing. All of his generals felt that their leader, Song Xianggong, wasn't very capable in military combat philosophy, but they were loyal. They didn't want to betray him. So they breathed a sigh of annoyance and obeyed his orders, which turned out to be very, very bad orders. I mean, you guys already expected that. And, as expected, the army of Chu crossed the river. Song Xianggong even backed off a couple of miles to allow the Chu army to advance and shake off the water and remove all the slowness and all the negativity they got from crossing the river, and even rest up a little and renew their energy. After Song Xianggong confirmed that the other side was ready to battle, and then they were equally organized, they started fighting. And it wasn't really a fight. It was one of those fights in history where it was completely one-sided domination, where one side just completely overwhelms the other, and there's no chance for losing side to come back at all. And this was what happened. The army of Chu, which was clearly more prepared and had more advanced military combat tactics and had a smarter leader, they absolutely destroyed Song Xianggong's army, and it was a devastating loss. And while honor is good to have, here this battle shows that it cannot be above tactics in military strategizing. Song Xianggong died a few weeks later from a wound from an arrow. Even though Song Xianggong wasn't technically a hegemon, he is still considered by historians to be one, and that's why we're talking about him today. This was a very short-term and special hegemon that had almost no power at all, but he was the only one of his case, and that was cool. So that's gonna be it for today. See you next time.